Welcome back, YouTube. So before we get into the charts, I wanted to just come on and address a few things and announce what this video is going to be about. Obviously, if you look at the title, it's going to be about our Q1 projections, at least the median areas that I expect us to land within. If the Fed decides that they're going to pivot or not in the first quarter, which I don't believe they will, but if they do, then I do believe that we're going to be exposed on the higher end, or at least get more action on the upside. But truth be told, when you're looking at the charts, we're mostly right now what we're trying to do is find out where the actual consolidation is going to be until the Fed pivots. A lot of times people are trying to time the bull market or asking when the next breakout is going to be, and that's going to be when the Fed pivots. And I don't believe that we're going to see that. We get our first actual Fed meeting next month, and we have the opportunity to hear from Powell and stuff like that directly. But I don't believe that we're going to have a pivot in the first quarter. We'll probably just see the rate hikes come down a bit, but I don't believe there's going to be like a dramatic pivot. I think that we're probably going to be on pace for that around like March or April. Ironically, this is when they stopped printing money. I think it was like March was the last stimulus check that was injected into the market. So I do believe that we're going to get one full year of these hikes. So I think that will kind of time the pivot maybe sometime between like March and June. We'll see as like a strong pivot from the Fed, but again, that can change. Things change at within a heartbeat in this thing, so that can obviously change. But I do believe that's kind of what we're looking for. So let's take a look here at the charts. Okay, so looking at Dogecoin, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin here as well. But looking at Doge, we got a rejection because this is honestly a gap down. So we very well could have consolidated all the way down. We'll take a look here at shorts, but we actually got a rejection. Buying pressure came in at a decent rate, and we're able to push back and consolidate at our highest consolidation point, which is right around the 7 cent mark. So that's actually pretty good because this leaves us some room if the Fed, keeps getting crazy and saying, "Hey, look, the job market is great, or this is great, that's great," and we're in a great position. We can keep hiking and go ahead and get this thing under control and get this inflation down. There is because we're not consolidating down at these lower points, we can actually see if we have more corporate money, institutional money pull out, we can actually see a consolidation down to around this mark versus if we were here and we get that further breakdown. So this is actually really good that despite what's going on, despite the lower volume, despite the shorts that we've seen, that it's still hanging out at around its highest point here. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin. All right, here we go. So this is Bitcoin, which is it's at its third level. So it's 16,938. But I do believe that even historically, Bitcoin has not corrected its full range of motion. Obviously, it's the chosen coin. It's the one where most of the institutional money is going to go. It's where it's going to be pretty much the market indicator of an actual bull run or reversal. It's going to be used for that. So I know a lot of times it's going to have a lot of extra capital placed there. So it could be a lot slower for it correcting that full 85%. But that does put it a little over $10,000 if it were to correct. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's very possible that Bitcoin can still correct another $7,000, especially if the Fed continues on its current, I'll just say, path of destruction. But as of right now, it's on a third level here, so at around like the 17,000 mark. But we do have a few rejections from the mid 15,000s, and I'll probably go ahead and chart. I think it's like around 10.3. I have to do the math somewhere around here. And where it can actually hit with a full 85% correction, but we haven't went there yet, so I haven't charted it. But this is kind of what we're looking at. We get that breakdown. So even without that, if we consolidate it and just had lower volume, it can hit that 10,000 mark. If the institutions, whatever, needed to raise money, you can expect a further dip across the market. But let's take a look here at Doge shorts too, because I forgot about that. And you see, look at the short pressure that is on Doge. Now, this has been building for quite some time. We had a slight consolidation here at the beginning of the year, but just to kind of keep this in mind, this is when Elon purchased Twitter. This is when Doge was at 15 cent or so. And look where we are now at a little less than half that. Well, roughly about half that. Look at the buying pressure, that the selling pressure that's on. If you don't understand shorts, I have a series of videos going over shorts and how they, even though they are a delayed purchase, how they immediately affect the price of an asset. So you can check out those videos. So this is one of the things I was speaking of, is that these shorts love to capitalize off a low volume, but Doge is still holding up relatively well due to the circumstances. So let's see. Yeah, so we can. Is it possible that we can see this just off of like stagnation in the market, lower volume? That it is possible we could see that breakdown again. This is gap up territory, so the only thing that's stopping this is going to be extreme buying pressure, which is one of the reasons why you either see these larger candles in that current trend, or consecutive candles to break this, because this is technically, there's no area of support here. You'll typically just kind of see it get filled on the other side. That's why you have this wick on this candle here. It got rejected, and then you have three consecutive. I know it's really small, but you have three consecutive candles here to the upside before you have the next red candle to get that consolidation point. So it's possible we can get that breakdown at least somewhere in here, maybe even like the 6-6 range, which is technically where we got rejected from before. On the downside, that was kind of the push down point. So even if you wanted to, I guess, put an additional level in here, I'm not going to. I guess you could, but you can see that white dotted line. You'll see that we got a few touches before Elon purchased, but you can still technically get filled, and then of course this support level will return into resistance on the upside if we did come down. But and the same thing for Bitcoin, really, because I'm going to go back. Yeah, so we have 3 touches down here. So yeah, so we did get that breakdown here. It's just really, when compared to the typical movement, it's low volume in crypto. So shorts and stuff like that, they're going to capitalize off of this, but you can technically have that stagnation period, especially for Bitcoin. It'll be nothing for it to drop another $1,000 back to the mid 15 range. It can do that as easily as the wind blows. So that'll be absolutely nothing for Bitcoin to do that. But the biggest ticker for Bitcoin is going to be whether or not we continue to see these rate hikes and it actually fulfills its full 85% correction, because that can dramatically have an effect on the overall market, and we could see some of those extreme lows in some of the other assets. And I went over that in a previous video too, but I believe that I'll put Doge down at its previous flash crash prices, which is, it was around like 4 cent or so. But buying pressure, even then, I'm talking about this period right here. We got 1, 2, 3, about 4 periods down here at around 4.8, low fives, really low fives. So when I did the math, I did it on a previous video. I broke down the math for you guys, but it pretty much matched with what we've already saw. It was really close. So I feel confident in those numbers, but that's really just dependent on Bitcoin doing a full 85% correction. So we got some time before we can kind of see that unravel. And I do believe we're kind of going to have to hear from the feds before we can make that call. But if you're looking for your Q1 price targets, you're going to, on the upside here, I believe that we're going to see, I will probably keep us in this range right here, unless something like a major development or something happened with Elon or Twitter. I would put us at high sevens at around the 8. And on the low side, I'd say 6.6 to the low. I'll say 6.6 to 6.6 on the low side, depending on what happens, if the Fed gives us a shock or not. But I don't believe that we're going to see a huge run up until we hear from the Fed, or obviously Elon changes something that can kind of blow this projection out of the water. But I do believe we're kind of going to have to hear from the Fed before we actually get some volume into the market, because you'll see overall volume is down in the market, and Dogecoin is getting hammered right now with shorts. So you have to kind of factor both of that in. The selling pressure on Dogecoin is almost equal. The selling pressure on Dogecoin at 7 cent is almost equal to the selling pressure that shorts had on it at 15 cent. So you can imagine what that does to price action, and you couple that with low volume, and you're going to need some momentum to get a strong break upwards. For Bitcoin, let's take a look here. I think it was Bitstamp. Yep. So for Bitcoin, I'd say the same thing. We can definitely see 15s. This is without anything extreme happening, like the mid 15 range, and possibly up to like high 18, 18.4, yeah, 18.4 to 18.8 Q1 projection. So we'll probably see some very similar to Dogecoin, some more sideways action until we get a concrete idea on the direction of the market. So I kind of believe big money is doing the same thing retail is doing right now, which is kind of like on the sideline, waiting and seeing, which is being on the sideline to kind of wait and see, averaging into their positions when they see favorable prices, and ultimately waiting on this pivot here to officially declare, the gates are open and the bull is free to run. So those are my projections. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe, share it with a friend. I'll provide some more updates later this week. And don't forget to check out Moomoo, where you can get up to 15 free stocks when you open a new account with them. I have a link in the description section. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you in the next video.